At this stage of Football Manager, we're all aware of the big name Wonderkids that people tend to sign in their saves, but today I'm going to try and give you some alternative picks. I'll be picking a full team of 11 of my favourite underrated Wonderkids in FM24. That's right, today we're going to focus on those Wonderkids that don't quite get enough love, the ones that people don't ever tend to sign or in most cases don't even know about. So hopefully there'll be some great picks for you guys today. Before we start though, if you do enjoy the video, make sure you smash that like button for us and subscribe to the channel for more content. But most importantly, I want you guys to let me know down below which Wonderkid has been your best that you don't really hear people talking about. That way hopefully we can use all of your suggestions potentially for a future video. With that being said, let's go check out the goalkeeper. And of course we do have to start in the net, even though it is the most boring position on the pitch in Football Manager. But one goalkeeper I think doesn't get enough love is Zion Suzuki. He's probably one of the more well-known names in this list, the Japanese international goalie, but a lot of the time when it comes to Wonderkid goalkeepers, the conversation tends to be towards a few names, particularly Dennis Simon this year has been a very good option, but Suzuki is often overlooked. But when you consider his price, how good he is and his potential, there's a reason that in the past clubs like Manchester United have been interested in the goalie, who is now playing his football out in Belgium but has predominantly played his career in Japan. Now he starts off as a 20-year-old. Younger goalkeepers don't tend to really hit their prime until later in their career, so it might really take him a few years before he starts shooting up in his attributes, but straight away you have got a championship level goalkeeper here who could easily grow into a Premier League level 1 if we use the English divisions as an example. He's a 6'3" goalie with decent attributes in all areas, lacking in his first touch and his passing, but outside of that everything else he is very good at. Great reflexes, handling, aerial reach too. Those attributes are of course going to grow to a much higher level than what you're seeing here too, so for about £8 million I think he's a great investment and severely underrated by the FM community this year. Another underrated player, our right back, is Filippo Missori, a 19-year-old Italian playing for Sassuolo in Serie A, now recently relegated into the second tier for FM25. He can be picked up for around £5 million and is a very good attacking right wing back, or straight up right back if you want to play him there. Now much like many of you guys I'm sure, I had no idea who this guy was until kind of the winter update period. I don't know whether he suddenly just popped onto my radar or whether he was upgraded in the winter update, but he is so good going forward. 14 passing, the great technique as well, dribbling ability, crossing and first touch. But outside of just the attacking part, he can do that right back shift well with 13 tackling, great work rate and positioning. He does need to work on his marking, but he's got time. He's a quick right back, 6 foot as well. He's not going to lack in the height department. The last player we looked at I said was championship level, could grow into Premier League. I would say straight away Missouri could be a Premier League level player for a relegation level team, and within a few months you could definitely see him being an unreal talent in that right back slot. Our underrated gem at left back is going to be Thauan Lara, whose name I've definitely butchered there. He plays for INT out in Brazil and can be signed age 19 for around £5 million. Straight away here, this is a Premier League level left back in my opinion. Again, relegation level, maybe high championship. Either way, he's a very big talent age 19 who could grow to be a top 6 level defender. Great on the ball ability going forward. The two fullbacks we picked in this video are quite attacking minded, but again he's not lacking too much defensively. I will say he is worse than Missouri when it comes to the defensive elements, with 10 tackling, 9 positioning and 9 marking. But what I will say about him is he is only 19. By the time he's 21, 22, you should see all of those at a decent level of maybe 11, 12, 10 at the worst case for some of these attributes, which obviously isn't ideal, but when you factor in how good he is going forward, you could maybe let him off. Now I think he's a fantastic option. Maybe it is that lack of defensive ability that has made him quite an unheard of pick this year in FM, but I really do think with the right growth, this man can be an unreal signing at left back. Moving on to our centre backs, we have Albion Hajdari, a severely underrated defender, 20-year-old Swissman playing for Lugano, formerly of Juventus out in Italy of course. He's now valued at around £7 to £8 million and is an important player in the Swiss leagues and one of the best players in the whole division in FM. Now he's a great player physically, great in the air, combine it with some good heading ability, the strength as well. He's not too slow either, and you've got a very good makeup physically there for a centre back. But then you combine it with the fact that mentally he's super well rounded. Yes, off the ball and flair aren't great, but you don't necessarily need that for a centre-back. He's a great tackler with great heading ability. He's left-footed as well, which is a bit harder to come by than a right-footed centre-back. And on the ball with 13 passing, 12 vision and 11 technique, he is certainly not too shabby either. You could have him as a wide centre-back, as the game suggests, but a ball-playing defender, he would easily do at a good level. He's got good work rate as well, nice first touch, could potentially work on his dribbling, but I think overall this is a fantastic defensive option. He is a bit older than some other Wonderkids you might look at, but age 20, I think he's ready to slot straight in to a Premier League side if given the chance. And of course, with all of these players, they've got potential to grow compared to what you're seeing here. They're not capped at what we're seeing right now. They're going to develop into even better talents than what we're seeing. And potentially none more so than Alan Machoro, an 18-year-old Uruguayan playing for Genoa for 5 million. If we're talking about someone that could grow and be even better than what you're seeing here, this 18-year-old certainly fits the bill. Can play as a left back or a centre back. Again, a brilliant ball playing defender who's got a good cross on him, and I actually think he might suit that left back spot quite nicely. But he is also very good defensively. He's 6'2", quite strong, good in the air. He'd either make a really well-rounded left back or potentially a wide centre back in a back three. He's been at Genoa for over a season now, so he isn't someone that you're going to have to wait to sign, having signed from Defence or Sporting out in Uruguay. But I think he's a very good option at centre back, potentially one of the best Wonderkid defenders in the game. Despite all of that though, I don't think he's necessarily spoken about as one of the best centre-back Wonderkids this year. I certainly think he is, and for 5 million, he is an absolute gem of a signing from Genoa. When it comes to underrated midfielders, I think William Clem certainly fits the bill. The 19-year-old plays for Copenhagen. Again, he's going to cost you about 5 million, and you might look at his attributes and just kind of dismiss him because there's nothing too special about him. But what I love about him is he is so good in every single area. If you have him as, say, a box-to-box, I'm not necessarily sure he's going to suit that outright, but if we tick that as an example, you can see physically he's really well-rounded. Yes, strength is an issue, but at age 19, he's going to work on that. By the time he's 20, 21, that strength will be 10, 11, 12 potentially. Mentally, he is so well-balanced for a 19-year-old. He can tackle, he's good on the ball too, he can mark, he's got a long shot, he's got a head on him, he's got good finishing ability, crossing, first touch. There's no real weakness in his game at age 19, and he's only going to get better. He's an under-21 international for Denmark already, and for that price, I think Copenhagen are going to have plenty of suitors for this player, so you might have to act quick. But William Clem, I think, is a brilliant talent, high-level championship player with a ceiling to play for a top 6 Premier League club. Next is a bit of a polarising talent that I felt he had to be in this list because he isn't really spoken about at all, but Ilian Arala of San Lorenzo is an 18-year-old Argentinian who can be signed for 5 million, who has some fantastic attributes when you look at him, but also some pretty poor ones too, and I think for that reason he is one of those players that not a lot of people look at, or maybe doesn't come up on a lot of scout reports as a good talent. But if we start off with the mental attributes, he's really well rounded, no issues in his game whatsoever. He can pass well, he can hit a good long shot, he's maybe not the best on the ball when it comes to his dribbling and his finishing, but he's got the first touch, he can head the ball well. He's only 5'9" though, so he's not going to win many headers, and as you can see, he does lack in some of those physical attributes, but at age 18, he's going to get better than that. He looks way older than 18, mind you, but I just think with some of those real standout attributes in his game, the decision making, the long shots, the passing ability, combined with those really good mentals, he's someone that's going to be set up well for the future, and he's already going to be getting minutes at San Lorenzo. So give it a year or so, scout him, and I'm sure by the time he's 19, 20, you will have a really well-defined central midfield talent for you guys to sign for your teams. Before we move into our attackers, don't forget to like the video if you are enjoying, and just to let you guys know, if you haven't heard me speak about it on the channel yet, I have my own channel as well, linked in the description, all Football Manager content, so if you like this, you'll likely like that too. So if I could get any support over there, I'd massively appreciate it, once this video's done of course, because we've still got 4 fantastic picks to show you guys. Up first is Ali Jassim, a 19-year-old Iraqi international who can be signed from Al Jawaya. I tried, I don't necessarily know if that is how it's pronounced, but Ali Jassim is a fantastic young option who can play on the wing or up front. Now, like the player we last looked at, he is lacking in a lot of areas of his game, but he's got the pace, he's got the acceleration, he's got 18 dribbling too. He might not be able to do too much more with it, but if you have him as, say, an inverted winger on the right-hand side, I could see him being okay. I mean, you can see as soon as we've done that, he suddenly looks like a much better option in terms of the attributes highlighted for him. So with some growth, and he does have some decent potential too, you could see this man turn into a top player, and he's only going to cost you around £100,000 at a push really. He's probably going to be cheaper than that, for most of you guys, so I definitely would suggest checking him out. Obviously, with him playing his football in Iraq, a lot of you won't have had him in your database, and I think that's the reason why many haven't seen him. But in your next save, just load it up, or at least load players from the nation of Iraq. Then you'll have access to this guy, and I'm sure you won't regret it. Another obscure nation to have a Wonderkid from, we have an Uzbekistani international. It's 19-year-old Abozbek Feyzuliev, whose name, again, I've probably butchered, but I had to do that about 10 times to get even this decent of a take, so that tells you how hard it was to say that name. But for about 3 million from CSKA Moscow, you can pick up a brilliant attacking midfielder who can play on the left, decent with both feet, but is predominantly right-footed, so you could have him cutting in from that right-hand side. But he is a great playmaker with 15 technique and 15 vision, good on the ball, but great off the ball too. Physically is lacking in some areas, for example, 3 strength and 5 jumping reach, but he's agile, he's quick, he's not necessarily going to be someone that's bullying people off a ball, but instead dribbling around them before they even get the chance to do it. He is someone with great potential as well, and for 2 or 3 million, I don't know why this guy isn't spoken about as much as some others. This player, I think I know why he is underrated, because there's so many great Spanish Wonderkids this year, and there has been for many years, that players like Pecu here fly under the radar. He is an important player already for his second division side Racing Club de Santander, and the 20-year-old is definitely a talent that would be capable of playing in the top division with great creative ability, decent physicals and mentals, but really it's that on the ball ability, the first touch, the passing, the vision, the technique, the things we all associate with the great Spanish midfielders. As a number 10, being bow footed as well, he's a really good option for £2 million. I don't know how he is playing in the second division. I didn't know he was off Barcelona, but that definitely makes sense now. But yes, if you've got a couple million quid spare and you can't necessarily buy the Gavis and the Pedris of this world, then maybe PQ could be a very good pickup for your sides. And our final player and my choice for underrated striker is Hammarby's 20-year-old Yusuf Arabi, a Wonderkid striker with a potential that many others have, but he's kind of marked down by most people, or maybe not scouted well by your scouts, because his technical attributes are quite weak. But I promise you, what works in this year's match engine, Arabi has. I mean, 19 strength, decent pace, good in the air as well, or at least decent in the air. He's got enough finishing that he will score you goals, great work rate as well. The bravery's there, the aggression's there. Yes, it's suggesting target forward. I wouldn't necessarily say he needs to do that. Pressing forward, advance forward, he would do a good job of. Yes, he does lack in the dribbling and the passing departments, and for that reason, he isn't suggested as an advance forward, but I still think he could do a job. He's determined as well, and he's only going to get better. Hammarby have a brilliant prospect from their academy on their hands. This just shows you in the in-game engine, he will do pretty well. Without us doing anything, just playing for Hammarby, he's got a 7.88 average match rating in his last 12 games for them, which is exceptional. So if you then signed him, I bet you could have some great results too. I think right now he is a championship level striker, but at full growth you could easily see him occupying a mid-table Premier League club and scoring some goals for them. Yusuf Arabi, a brilliant Swedish talent, and there you go. There's 11 underrated Wonderkids for you to check out in FM24. Let me know your favourites in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.